let's dig into this. A lot of persons feel that the legal profession is a challenge, very difficult profession, because you have to read and read and read in a situation where people's attention span is so short and so many persons just want to watch videos and just want to see graphics and see infographics and then move on, as the case may be. Talk to us basically with the preliminaries of the law profession, how interesting it is for any individual like you.
Okay, so I said to myself and to everyone around me that I think one of the best decisions I've made in life is being a lawyer.
Wow. I know someone is thinking in the same way too. I didn't mention names anyway.
Because I think being a lawyer, I say that your law degree is your oyster. It gives you the opportunity. It's a platform that gives you the opportunity to become anything and everything you desire to be, right? So I think that the law profession or being a lawyer is an interesting thing because you interface with all manner of people, and to some you appear to be their God because, I mean, you get judgments.
The learned one.
Exactly.
Hallowed one. You know.
Exactly. You know, you get to defend them, you get to be their advocate, you also get to do transactions on their behalf, you're negotiating and all of that. So for me, it's an interesting profession. I know it comes with a lot of work. You have to read, you have to learn, you have to keep, reading. But I think that if you have made up your mind to become a lawyer, then there's no looking back. You just have to do the work.
Great.
Right, and I'm also, well, my takeaway from what you said so far has been that, as a lawyer, you can be anything you want to be. It's like a visa or a ticket, to be in anything you truly want to be.
Absolutely.
But in line with your mandate now, so you're a lawyer now, but then you see a gap somewhere that it's one thing to be a lawyer, but then it's another thing, even after you've given advice to diverse range of clients, but then there seems to be a gap, according to you now, for lawyers who still don't know how to go about, the business side of law. I want you to just break down, this issue and why your service is relevant.
Okay, so by our training, you would we realize that we're taught to do the law, to know the law, to apply the law to several cases in defending your clients and all. But we're not taught to be businessmen and businesswomen in our thinking, in our modus operandi, the way we execute, because again, you set up a law firm, you expect that clients would come. Yes, definitely clients will come. You get judgments for them. You help them resolve all their matters. But what is coming to you as a lawyer at the end of the day? Do you have structures in place to ensure that, you have, because every organization has, a business department, a finance department, a branding, marketing, and all of that. All of those departments are what makes up the organization. So, for instance, the banking sector would not say, oh, we're just here to, help you keep your money or save your money, and so we don't need, we don't need the marketing team, we don't need the sales team. No, every component makes up the banking sector and every other organization. But for us as lawyers, because by our training, we're just taught to focus on, the advocacy, access to justice, helping our clients. So really and truly, we really do not have any understanding or inclination about business. And so you find out that as a lawyer, you do all the nice cases for your clients, you get judgments for them, they keep ailing you, the law. But at the end of the day, there is nothing in
your pocket.
Yes, and we need to focus on, the business that brings in the bacon for us, so that we are not going to bed hungry, so that there is money in your pocket and you can have all the nice things, that every other person have. You can also, there's this gratification that comes from it, that you are being rewarded for the quality of work, for the service that you provide to your clients. But unfortunately, that's really not the case for most lawyers. And so I saw that, that gap, and I felt that it's important that we begin to address it. It's important to begin to expose lawyers to the consciousness that law is also a business. As much as we are advocates, as much as we, try to ensure access to justice for people, we also should be well taken care of. We should be well remunerated. And for that to happen, we need to understand the dynamics of doing the business.
All right. So at what point should any lawyer begin to become conscious of the business side of it? Because as it is, some are in the profession already, have been practicing for years, months, decades, depending on what level of society you are or how old you are, as the case may be. But at what point should one begin to think consciously of the business? Because the moment you're drawing attention to that money side of it, some people can be so money conscious to the level where they undermine the standards of what the rule of law is supposed to be. So speak to us from that window.
I believe that from the moment you decide, you make up your mind, as a law student, you should become aware of the fact that I would eventually become a lawyer, and I need to understand the dynamics of, how the legal profession operates, and make up your mind on how you want to go about it at the end of the day. Because at the point you become a lawyer, it may be too late, right? And I know that in universities these days, there's, this course on entrepreneurship and all of that, but I'm not sure if the faculties of law have that in their curriculum. I'm not very certain about that. So I think that there should be that awareness, that consciousness of, being enterprising in your approach to your profession, whether you are a lawyer, but in this case, we are talking about, the lawyers, right? Everyone should have that, entrepreneurial approach to whatever business we are doing, lawyers inclusive. Now, I get your point in terms of how do we ensure that we are not just focusing only on the money, but we are also ensuring that the real work, right, is being done. So it's all about balance. It's all about balance. And the good thing is that for us also as custodians of law, the ethics of our profession dictates and expects that at all times you must be about getting justice for your clients. It has to be about delivering quality legal solutions to your clients, not just about the money. Of course, the money may be a motivating factor, help you to do better, but the ethics of our profession.
It's expected that any case that you handle for a client, the client is certainly supposed to pay a certain fee for whatever case that you're handling. Well, it could vary from person to person depending on what relationship you have with the person. Absolutely. And how you want to help or how do you want to be disposed to it. So is that different from the business? Because that also brings money.
Okay, so that is not different, because of course you have to get remunerated for the work you do. But how do you go about charging? How do you go about billing, pricing your services?
Okay.
Because you may be doing a great work, but you are collecting peanuts. So it's important that as much as you want to, we do a lot of pro bonos, but there has to be a limit to the number of pro bonos, because pro bono will not feed you. So as much as
pro bono helps the society.
Yes, it helps the society, and that's why we have lawyers who, now have NGOs such that they get funding to help, with access to justice and helping the less privileged within the society. If that's your calling, fantastic, you can go about it. But not everybody would be in that space. And for those who are not in that space, it is important that they understand, how to bill, for their services. Because if you do not understand how to bill or price your services, you just find out that you are doing excellent work and your clients are happy, they are going to bed happy, but your bank account is crying.
We'll come back to this, because one would say that could be making the legal service more expensive, but we'll come back to this. Let's I know people at home will listen to what I'm saying. All right, let's go on a short break. We'll be right back to talk more on this. Yeah.
Like to eat better, more nutritious meals, more veggies, but we want it tasty and easy too. No cubes. That's the secret. Made with real ingredients like chicken, parsley, and garlic. And enriched with iron, so your meals are better for you and more delicious too. That's the cocoa. Let's give it some accolades. Change your world by changing what's on your plate.
So hot, Auntie. You'll get used to it.
Yes!
What's the big deal? It's just a cereal.
Just a cereal? You are talking about something that has helped thousands of Niger farmers provide for their families for decades. And it's packed with the energy and nutrition. That's why Golden Morn is so special to us. You get it?
Keep enjoying Niger's favorite breakfast cereal fortified with Grain Smart, a special combination of iron and vitamins to help your family make every day golden.
I get it now.
Nestle.
You're watching TVC Breakfast, and on this segment, we've been looking at understanding the business of law. So many people, especially lawyers, go to defend a lot of clients. And we have a guest in the studio, Olubusola Ajala, who is saying that some persons have to be a little more conscious, or lawyers have to be a little more conscious in the billing system. You know, so maybe we have to draft a billing rate somewhere in the chambers. Now, speak to us from that perspective, because when we went on break, before she asked a question, you were saying that lawyers should not circumvent themselves. They shouldn't undermine their services and all of that. But someone would say that's maybe making the legal services more expensive.
Okay, so I mean, I'll still go back to the last point I made, guys. Legal services can't be, you know,
It shouldn't be cheap.
it shouldn't be cheap. It shouldn't be cheap, right? But it should be relatively affordable. Because when you think of the consequences of not having access to legal support or legal services, the consequence may be greater than what the cost that you would have paid should you have, you know, sourced for legal services initially. Right, so take for instance, you know, a lot of people, I mean, the common example I'd like to give is a lot of people try to do their CAC registration by themselves because the CAC has now said, oh, everyone can register by themselves. But there is a clause there that you need to be able to insert when registering, the object clause. If you are not a lawyer, or if you do not have, you know, a good understanding of what you should do, you may not be able to, you know, you may not be able to adequately couch that object clause. And what we have found over the years since this new CAC law came into being is that a lot of people would go ahead to try to register by themselves, and then they get stuck at that object clause area.
What does the object clause say?
I mean, it's the clause where you define, you try to describe the kind of business you want to do. But you need to be learned or has some basic level of understanding of how to couch that, you know, thing in a way that suits what CAC is looking for. And so I've had cases of people coming to say, oh, I'm stuck, I can't do it. And then my friends who are lawyers will say, we will charge you more. I mean, I don't care if you had paid before, you know, to try to do it by yourself. But the mere fact that you didn't think that it was important to seek the service of a lawyer in the first place, now you are stuck, then you have to pay for that.
All right, so it means CAC has CAC decided, maybe there are lawyers in CAC who decided to put that thing somehow so that the average people like us will not...
No, I think it was just in a bid to make... It was just, you know, part of the ease of doing business.
Oh, okay.
Which is fantastic.
Ease of doing business that was not made easy.
But it's some people have said, even some observers have said that, you know, this this new style that we see cropping up, even with the influx of technology now into legal operations now, it's also seeking to enhance transparency.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Absolutely.
That, okay, lots of these things that lawyers do may be cloaked in secrecy. I don't know, but then there must have been a reason for CAC, for example, now to have said, okay, you can do this one-day registration thing, for example, whereas it may not be the one-day thing, and like you've said, there is a point where you know you need a professional to help you carry this through. That's on the one hand. Another concern is this issue of billing. we've seen lawyers also talk about, if I stick to being professional, that this is what this service you require, this is the amount that I know I should get from you. But then there is also the competition from even within the legal profession, where they would accept way lower than they deserve. And, you know, this has brought up a debate as to, should the NBA, for instance, now bring up a code of the billing system that Mike was talking about earlier. Let all the lawyers work by this billing system. After all, the profession has been greatly demeaned, and it's time now for the profession to rebrand. It may not be more expensive, but at least the uniform billing system. What do you think about that?
Okay, so in terms of, I mean, and I think that the Olumide Akwata administration, the past NBA president, did a fantastic work with respect to remuneration, charges, and all of that. They came up with a bill, a billing framework that lawyers can begin to use, such that we can have uniformity when it comes to billing and pricing, charging of our legal fees. But again, I won't also discountenance the fact that there are a lot of our colleagues who undercut, right, because you just need the money, right, or you feel that, oh, if I don't take this, another job will not come, or I'm broke and I need money. But I think that one of the things, because I run a community for lawyers, strictly law business community, and one of the things we talk about in the community is, I mean, recently I said, if it seems like most of the clients coming to you are not able to afford your services and they are going away, I think you shouldn't undercut yourself because of that. You can maintain your rate, right? Keep putting in the work, keep upskilling, because when people see the value that you provide, they'll be willing to pay for it. I get it that, again, sometimes we need to make legal services affordable, and like the technology you mentioned, yes, but really nothing is cloaked in secrecy. That's what a lot of people think. They think that lawyers, but it is not. The amount of work that we do, the amount of work that is required to make a client happy is a lot. And sometimes you get, some hindrances along the way, but that's not the client's business, right? You just need to deliver value to the client. And so you have to go all out. If I'm to go all out to ensure that my client is happy, then I think it's only appropriate that my client would also give me something that is at least, maybe not exactly commensurate, but at least commensurate to the value that I provide.
Okay, let's talk about the metrics of this billing system. You use the billing system. It's like a rate card. But the issue there is, what factors will anyone consider? If I am a lawyer, for instance, because I like this topic, if I were a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer, so I'm seeing at the other side of the people. Preparing myself until I go to school to study law. But what factors should be considered in this billing system where you feel that you shouldn't undercut yourself? However, you should be, you used the word balance earlier, but what factors should be considered in such a way that you are still rendering service, yet you're still in business in law?
So I think that the factors are limitless, because it depends on the nature of work. For criminal matters, you then have to factor in, okay, how many times would we have to go to court? What's going to be? What are the number of appearances I would have? The case also. How critical is this case? What do I have to do? Do we need to do a lot of investigation? All manner of things. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's case dependent. So you have to determine, if it's a commercial transaction, what's the volume of work that will be required? How many people are even going to work with you on it? Because you may not be able to deliver the service alone. You have a team that is working with you on it. What's their level of competence? Another thing that also that would also be a factor is the capacity, the expertise, the level of competence and experience of the lawyer that will be working on that matter, right? So all of those, the factors are limitless, right? And take for instance, maybe a landlord and tenant matter. You could also decide, okay, in this area, what's the going rate for services like this? Because the going rates for houses on the mainland is quite different from that on the island. So you want to consider all manner of factors to decide before you arrive at what your pricing will be.
Right. And another, well, this year, now we are also getting the rise of technology, the prospects, the challenges, it offers to law, for example, how that legal services appear to be changing. In America now, we've seen of a robot appearing in court, somewhat. Should Nigerian lawyers, as, we eye the bigger picture out there, should Nigerian lawyers be happy at this? Is this a threat, so to speak? Is technology a threat, or should we be happy that it's our friend?
Technology can never be a threat. For me, I consider it as something that enhances the quality of our work and also our efficiency. Because take for instance, before the advent of technology, you'd have to read volume and volume of case report, law reports. You have to read volume and volume of contracts, a lot of things. But with AI, you could just bring out the relevant points, the relevant things you need to understand, and you are good to go. So that enhances efficiency and productivity. And you are able to do more work in less time, meaning that you can take on as many, briefs as you can and deliver in a shorter period of time than what used to be obtainable in the past. So, but I think that the issue that makes it look as a threat is because of the lack of education and awareness about the benefits of technology. If people understand that these AIs, these chat GPTs would enhance the quality of my work, make me to, do work better and faster, then I would rather leverage on it than, keep doing manual work. And then that means I'll be able to take on more jobs, get more briefs done, and get more money also. So, but because we lack that understanding, we don't have education, proper education with respect to technology, the use, the benefits. That's why some people feel, oh, this can be a threat to our existence or our work, but it's definitely not a threat. As a matter of fact, I think it enhances, it's a complement to the work we do.
Yeah, but a lot of people have argued that the technology, like the AI you talked about, is an enhancer, it's like an assistant. When you bring your assistant and then it becomes the primary place of reliance. Now, there are spontaneous things in human engagement that the chat GPT or the AI may not necessarily fit into. So, over-dependence or over-reliance on AI could make you incompetent in areas where you need to adapt swiftly, immediately to, social, cultural, all the nuances are, because in the legal profession, there are some little issues around there that are peculiar to either a case, a people, a society, or an environment that the AI may not necessarily be able to adapt to because of what has been infused into AI to garbage in, garbage out. So talk to us from that regard, how to navigate that aspect of things.
I think I know one placing sole reliance on AI, I will be doing so at his or her own detriment. Because I remember about a few months ago, I just went on ChatGPT to say, okay, draft this agreement for me. And he drafted the agreement. I was like, okay, I think it's fair enough. It's fair enough. And 2 weeks after, I went back and I said, okay, another agreement, he drafted it. But the interesting thing this time was that ChatGPT then told me that, as you know, I am not a legal professional. Please contact the legal professional within your jurisdiction. So a wise person, whether or not you are a lawyer, should then know that, as notwithstanding what I've gotten from ChatGPT, can I run it by a lawyer? That can then make, okay, maybe the service the lawyer would render maybe a bit, less expensive than what would have ordinarily obtained. So I'm saying that to say that sole reliance on AI, on ChatGPTs, is going to be at the detriment of whoever is, doing that. And again, there's human touch. AI doesn't have emotions. And sometimes you just want to pick up your phone and speak to your lawyers. You want to explain to your lawyer what is happening. AI would not grant your bail, will not take your bail at the police station.
Or the empathy, at least.
So that human touch is still there.
Okay.
It's just a complement. It can never be a replacement.
All right. We have to leave you here now. Olubusola Ajala, thank you so much for educating me in the need to, at least letting me know that there's a business side to law. So if I'm going into law now, please, let's you assist me get the forms so that, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Right. Okay. Now,